It's pretty much where you just work by yourself.
Where you can work at your own pace.
You can work at your own pace.
Go at your own pace.
Work in your own pace. And
You go on your own pace.
Lets me work my own pace.
watch videos the teacher made at home or somewhere else. And
Instead of the teacher teaching everyone, you're teaching yourself.
You're working, however fast or slow you want.
with as little teacher help as possible.
An individualized classroom is a classroom set up so that students can work at their own paces. I have several packets. There's 8 packets made up for Algebra 2, and each section has its own video that I create, and the students can work on them outside of class, they can work on them inside of class, they can work on them with me if they need extra help or support there, and when they finish with a section, they just talk to me individually. And as long as I believe that they understand the material enough, they get to move on.
Just being able to work at your own pace and not have to worry about everybody else slowing you down or trying to speed you up if you don't understand it or something like that.
Yeah, if you think it's hard, you can just watch it again, or and you can still ask the teacher. So
You get to work how you want to work.
You're not going to be rushed by the teacher's, progression, what she's supposed to do, and also you're not going to be slowed down by any other students.
And get ahead if you want, and or you could just go week by week.
The great aspect as a teacher with the individualized classroom is that I know exactly where every one of my students is at. So in a traditional classroom setting, I know on average how my students are doing, but I won't necessarily know that Bruce is getting an A and he really understands logarithms, and Emily is getting a C and she has absolutely no idea what logarithms are. So it's a really good judge for me. I know exactly where each one of my students are sitting, and it's helpful to know where their grades are at as a person and not just as a classroom as a whole.
I like that I can really get ahead and get done with sections quickly.
With the videos, you can work at home if you want. You can work in other classes when you have free time.
I like how I can do things on my own, and if I forget something, I can just play back into the video.
What I like is that I can just stay at a steady pace. I don't have to hurry, I don't have to slow down. I can be content with how I work. I think I perform better in the individualized classroom, but according to my grades, in the traditional classroom, I perform better. So
I think it's pretty much the same.
Individualize, definitely.
I prefer the individualized. My grades are much better than they were in the traditional.
It's made me actually have to do my own work. Like, I don't depend on the teacher. I have to keep track of where I'm at and what I'm doing each day. So.
I've never been organized, so it hasn't changed it.
I think it's made it better, so.
Don't really have organizational skills to begin with, so it really didn't change at all.
You have to be extremely organized for the individualized classroom to work well. If you're not organized, you don't know what kind of questions I need to be asking the students and what kind of responses that I need to get from the students so that I know that they understand the material. I have to be so far ahead because I have a lot of students that are literally 3 weeks ahead of where I expected them to be. So here I am coming out of Christmas break thinking, all right, I need to get this one packet done, but within the next 2 weeks I already had to get the next packet ready. So it's really pushed me to my extremes, making sure that I am well prepared in advance. So I need to be at least a month ahead of where I thought I needed to be.
Not really. I still dislike it just about as much as I used to.
Stayed pretty much the same. Sometimes I think it's fun to watch a video, but no, not really.
Yeah, I like it a lot better.
No, I still dislike math. Probably getting started and actually understanding it, because sometimes the videos don't explain it to the students' needs.
Checking out and getting your name on the board can be the hardest thing sometimes.
To get started, just to be like, okay, now I have to watch the video and work, makes it harder.
The hardest part, I would say, is actually having to check out, like with the teacher. It's a lot harder because she has to check every single student's work and make sure you did it. And so in a traditional classroom, you just turn in your homework and she would grade it. But with this, you actually have to wait, and sometimes just because of other people and how slowly they check out or how slowly the teacher checks them out, you're behind because of that. So.
The hardest part is probably the prepping, is making sure that the packets include all of the information that the state of Michigan says I need to include, and making sure that I have videos that students understand. Going through this the first time, I've had to go back and change at least a half a dozen of the videos, and the next year I'm going to have to change some things in the packet just because they weren't working as well as they needed to work. And so seeing some of those errors, it's going to make some differences. But yeah, just the prepping, the time, it takes a lot of time to get something like this ready.